soldiers, sailors, and airmen of the Allied Expeditionary Force. You are about to embark upon the great crusade toward which we have striven these many months. The eyes of the world are upon you. The hopes and prayers of liberty-loving people everywhere march with you. You will bring about the destruction of the German war machine, the elimination of Nazi tyranny over the oppressed peoples of Europe, and security for ourselves in a free world. Your task will not be an easy one. Your enemy is well-trained, well-equipped, and battle-hardened. Our air offensive has seriously reduced their strength in the air and their capacity to wage war on the ground. The tide has turned. The free men of the world are marching together to victory. I have full confidence in your courage, devotion to duty, and skill in battle. We will accept nothing less than full victory.
"5 years into the war, a mission called Operation Overlord, commonly known as D-Day, was executed that would change the world forever. Shortly after the start of World War II, Germany invaded and occupied northwestern France. After the United States of America entered the war, the Allied powers were considering executing a major invasion across the English Channel, causing Adolf Hitler, the leader of Nazi Germany, to take notice, resulting in the appointment of Erwin Rommel to lead defense operations in northwestern France. In January of 1944, Dwight D. Eisenhower was appointed commander of Operation Overlord. In the months before the execution of the operation, the Allied powers carried out a major deception operation known as Operation Fortitude. After discovering that German intelligence had intercepted Allied messages, the Allies began sending out false information to make the Germans believe that the Allies were planning a land attack in Calais instead of the real operation, which was a sea attack in Normandy. Additionally, the Allies set up balloon tanks in fields for German spy planes to see, enforcing that a land attack was being planned. On June 5, 1944, Eisenhower gave the go-ahead for Operation Overlord. Later that day, over 5,000 ships and landing craft carrying troops left England to travel across the English Channel to France, and 11,000 aircrafts were mobilized. By the dawn of June 6, 1944, thousands of Allied troops were already behind enemy lines to secure bridges and exit roads. The Allies overcame light opposition on beaches nicknamed Gold, Juno, Utah, and Sword. However, there was heavy opposition on Omaha Beach. By the day's end, 156,000 Allied troops had successfully stormed the beaches of Normandy. Later, on June 11, 1944, the beaches were fully secured. While this was happening, the Germans were suffering as a result of confusion in the ranks and the absence of Rommel. As Hitler heard about the attack, he believed that it was a distraction and the Allies would not actually bring 150,000 troops to storm the beaches. Therefore, he did not send troops to assist in the opposition. The events of D-Day are depicted in the movie The Longest Day, directed by Ken Annakin, Daryl F. Zanuck, Bernhard Wicki, Andrew Martin, and Gerd Oswald. Zanuck was the original director for the piece, however he hired German directors Oswald and Wicki, as well as British director Annakin and American director Martin, to ensure that the film was not biased. The film was based on the book The Longest Day by Cornelius Ryan, and was released on October 4, 1962 in the United States of America. The movie follows Allied General Norman Coda as well as Axis General Gunther Blumentritt. The film follows General Coda as he travels with his men onto Omaha Beach, through the battle, and deep into the French territory that was occupied by Nazi Germany, and General Blumentritt as the Axis powers react to the attack. The Longest Day was awarded 2 Academy Awards for Best Visual Effects and Best Cinematography, as well as a Golden Globe for Best Cinematography. Although the film is fairly historically accurate, the directors changed certain events to attract a larger audience. During Operation Overlord, paradummies were used as a distraction prior to the initial airborne attacks. In The Longest Day, the paradummy is shown as a sophisticated rubber dummy that set off a series of explosions when it hit the ground. However, in reality, the paradummies were burlap dummies, which were dropped along with British military personnel to distract the Axis powers and to make the Allied powers appear as if they had greater numbers than they actually did. On June 6, 1944, French 1st Commando BFM No. 4 landed on the beaches and had to liberate the town of Ouistreham in the Sword Beach sector. Once on the beach, the French soldiers were ordered to capture a casino, formerly a luxury building. However, the Germans had destroyed it to build a bunker. In the film, the bunker was portrayed as an 8-story building, while the bunker was actually a concrete structure 3 or 4 meters high, used to protect machine guns and an anti-tank gun. Also in the film, as the troops attacked the casino, which was now a bunker, nuns approached the fighting to begin treating fallen soldiers in the heat of the battle. During the actual attack that took place in 1944, there were no nuns present during the attack. In the film, at the beginning of the invasion, the Allied 2nd Rangers scaled the cliff at Point du Hoc in between the Utah and Omaha Beach sectors with grappling hooks and ladders. However, during the actual invasion, many of the grappling hooks and ladders failed, resulting in the Rangers having to free climb up the cliffs. Along with many inaccuracies, many aspects of The Longest Day were historically accurate. Prior to the beach landing, paratroopers were landing in rough conditions in the midst of the night. The paratroopers of the 101st Airborne were issued a cricket device, a small metal toy that emitted a click when pressed. The code used to communicate was 1 click, which was answered by 2 clicks. The Longest Day accurately replicates the use of the clickers, as they were the only method of communication between the soldiers after the drops. Lord Lovat commanded the British 1st Special Forces Brigade on Sword Beach. Their mission was to capture the beach and move inland to reinforce the troops at Pegasus Bridge, a crucial aspect of the Normandy invasions. The film faithfully portrays the assault, as well as many minor details, including Lovat's personal bagpiper, Bill Millen, and the link-up between Lovat's forces and Major John Howard's glider troops near Caen. Leading up to the invasion, Adolf Hitler had been having trouble sleeping, and on the night of June 5, 1944, had taken several sedative sleeping pills and left strict orders that he was not to be awakened, leaving him asleep during the initial stages of the attack. Hitler's dormant condition posed a problem to his officers because only he had the authority to release his Panzer tank reserves, which would be extremely helpful in the warding off of the Allied troops. The situation was portrayed accurately in the film, as well as the frustration and confusion of the German leaders in France responding to the attack. filming, the directors used an actual site of the Normandy invasion, thus increasing the historical accuracy, as well as using many of the actors portraying actual military personnel involved in the 1944 Normandy invasions. The minor inaccuracies throughout the film do not detract from the overall representation of the Allied invasion and Axis response. Meanwhile, faithful depictions of both following the course of history and of the culture and action of the real troops involved in the invasions contributed to the overall historical accuracy of the film. Additionally, the film was not biased due to multiple directors with different nationalities working to produce the film, which gave an accurate perspective for both the Allied and Axis powers. After examining both the accuracies and inaccuracies, it has been concluded that the film, The Longest Day, is overall historically accurate.